Isn't recording. Okay. All right. Okay. So good evening, everybody, and good morning from the UK. So my name's Jenny. I'm the Director of Mentorship, and I am here to speak to you today to talk about building a positive mindset. So for those of you who don't already know, I am a life coach, and I have a coaching business where I coach young people from the ages of 13 to 25. So for me, having a positive mindset is really, really, really important. So today we're going to hear about how you build a positive mindset, and I'm going to give you some tips, and I'm looking to have some good little conversation after we finish doing the presentation, and also really want you to give me some questions. I want loads of engagement, and I want to hear from you. So I don't want to just hear from me talking at you. I'm going to give you some tips, talk about mindset, and I want to hear from you guys later on with a little bit of chat, and also yeah, give me some questions and maybe share some experiences as well. That will be really great. Okay, all right, okay, so I am going to share my screen and get started in shortly. So just bear with me. Okay, just give me a few minutes while that loads up. Fantastic. All right, let's make a start. So, as I said, this evening, I'm going to be talking about how to build a positive mindset. Okay, for those of you who do not know what a mindset is, or you're wondering what that is all about, well, a mindset is really a set of beliefs that really affects the way that you think. Okay, and it also affects the way that you behave, and really it's a set of attitudes which is usually held by someone. Now, a mindset is also essentially your emotional response to normal daily activities, and this is really important for health and quality of life. Now, you may be unable to change your job. You may be unable to stop, refrain from going to school, or your family, or where you live, or other major constraints that may, get you to start thinking negatively. But you can approach life's frustrations with positivity by challenging negative thoughts and improving your outlook on life. So today is a day to really find out how we go about doing that. Now, a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. So before we get into what a fixed mindset and a growth mindset is, I want you that are here today, I want to ask you, has there been times when you have been thinking negatively? So if you could just put some ones in the chat, because I'm sure we're all guilty of doing that, where we've thought negatively about any situation before, because we are all human and that is life. Okay, so on the screen, you can see two pictures, one of a fixed mindset and one of a growth mindset. Okay, now these are the two basic mindsets that shape our lives. There are many fixed and growth mindsets examples. However, on the screen, I've just chosen a few. And I have an example of my own, a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Now, an example that I have now of a fixed mindset is, for example, her Instagram account is so popular, she must be buying followers. Now, somebody with a growth mindset would turn around and say, her Instagram is so popular, I will reach out and learn from her. So I'm sure you can see the difference of somebody who has a fixed mindset and somebody who has a growth mindset. So you may be looking at some of those examples and may be able to identify that, you may have a fixed mindset, you may have a combination, you might go up and down. But what we really want to get out of this session today is making sure that everybody builds themselves up to have a growth mindset where they can. Now, we're going to start exploring ways to start building that positive mindset and really building that positive muscle within our brain. Now, in order to start to build a positive mindset, you have to put steps, you have to put it into motion, okay? And obviously, if somebody has a negative mindset, it's a real hard pattern sometimes to get out of. So really have to kind of train your brain to see the good in every person, place, and thing, okay? It sounds complicated, but when you start to, we call it reprogramming your mind to see the good in everything, you're really going to start to think more positively. Now, ways to build a positive mindset. Okay, so the first thing we want to be looking at is who is feeding your mind. Okay, the brain. Okay, we need to be thinking about the brain. It needs food, and it needs positive food to keep ticking over positively. So the first thing I want everybody to start thinking, okay, who are you actually listening to? So really start having self-awareness and thinking about, you know, what kind of things do I listen to? Who am I listening to? What are your conversations about? Okay, something that I do to keep my mindset positive is at the end of the day, I sit and reflect and think about exactly what type of conversations have I been having today? You know, what kind of discussions have I been having? Really getting into sort of a self-awareness. The next thing you want to be thinking about is, what are you actually watching on TV? Now, believe it or not, things that you watch on TV can really have an impact on your brain in a negative way or a positive way. So, for example, you know, we've been facing a global pandemic for quite some time now, for a year now, okay? And yes, it's very good that we should keep up to date on the news and what is happening. That's absolutely fine. I'm not saying that nobody should watch the news. However, over time, if we decide that we will watch the news every single day and we listen to all the bad things that are happening, it's now starting to ingrain into our brain. So it's really registering, you know, we're watching all these things that are not making us feel good. Yeah, so this could be the news, this could be films, it could be anything. So really want you to be sort of mindful about what you're watching on TV. And if you are watching the news, maybe limit your time into, you know, what you're watching. Okay, next thing on the list, what are you reading? What types of books are you reading? Are you reading books that are going to really get your mind engaged and really get your mind thinking positively? Or are you just reading any random magazine, anything that doesn't feed your mind on a positive high level? So we have to get into the habit of thinking about the things that we do. All right, and in order to really build up that positive mindset, we need to feed our mind with positive things. So I want everybody that is here today to start telling themselves that this year, there isn't going to be a single day where they don't do something that positively feeds their mind, okay? So even if you read just as little as 10 minutes a day, or even just taking time out to just sit in silence for 10 minutes every morning, listening to some happy music, whatever it is, okay? Just as long as it's something that puts you in that sort of positive frame of mind. Now, doing little things day by day is known as the compound effect. Now, the compound effect, it's the principle of making small steps and building up. Okay, so let's just say, for example, you're a person that's been to the gym and you were really somebody who likes to keep fit and really go to the gym 5 days a week. Now, let's just say for whatever reason, a year has gone by and you haven't been to the gym. Okay, let's just say the pandemic's here, you haven't been to the gym, you probably haven't been working out, just an example. Now, in order for you to get back into that habit and be positive, you want to be realistic with yourself. Okay, I haven't been to the gym for 1 year, so let me set myself the little task of going 2 times a week. Okay, and that is compound. It's taking your time to build up. And of course, when we're having exercise, obviously that's something that is going to have a positive effect on your mind also. Okay, so we're on to challenging negative thoughts. Now, when you're aware of your negative thoughts, you will then be able to start to challenge your negative thoughts. Okay, sounds easier than it sounds, but when you are conscious and self-aware and you start really thinking about what are these negative thoughts that I'm thinking about, you will start to get into the routine of challenging these negative thoughts. And then when you've started to challenge these negative thoughts, you're in a position now to identify these negative thoughts. All right, because we have the ability to really change our behavior by changing our thoughts. All right, because the thoughts are the substance that actually leads to the behaviors. And really, what I keep saying is awareness is the key in order to control your thoughts. Self-awareness is really just really thinking about what is it I'm thinking about? Is it that bad, really? Just starting to identify these negative thoughts. Now, one thing I would actually suggest is keeping a thought journal. And this is something that I do. Now, a thought journal, it doesn't have to be a journal, it can just be a notebook. Okay. And really the purpose of this is really just to be making notes of the thoughts that are coming up throughout the day. Now, in addition to identifying your negative thoughts, I want you to really start identifying your triggers. Now, you might be saying, Jenny, what is a trigger? Now, a trigger is something that sets off a memory tape or a flashback in your mind, okay, of something that's happened before that's probably made you feel a bit upset. So I'm going to give you an example, okay, and it's usually something that's happened years ago or even last week or even last month. Now, about 10 years ago, I was working for an organization, and in this organization, I had to report to a line manager, as you do. Now, I used to receive constant emails from my manager daily, okay? And depending on what the email was, it would alert me to react negatively. And I'll be honest with you, I would just receive an email from my manager, see her name come up, and already I am starting to have negative thoughts. Now, if at that time I was keeping a thought journal and looking at my triggers, I will be able to identify what are the triggers? Why am I thinking negatively because I'm receiving an email from my manager? Is it because my manager is going to tell me what to do? And if that's the case, that thought can be identified because I can say to myself, well, she is my manager and that's what she's paid for. Okay, so it's really just analyzing. Am I annoyed that she's sending me an email, or am I annoyed that she's asking me to do work? So really what you need to do is really challenge your thoughts, keep a thought journal and go over it and be really honest with yourself. Okay, moving on. So if you do run into trouble identifying your negative thoughts, and it may not be trouble, or maybe because your brain has been programmed to think negatively over time, and it's really looking at undoing those patterns, those negative patterns. As I said, you would make a note in your journal, okay, in your thought journal, and really start to think, okay, how am I perceiving things differently? Okay, so when you're making these notes, you're looking at yourself, your work, your school, your parents, the environment, and so on, really looking at how you view things and people. Now, this will force you to pay attention to the critical voice or the little voice that sometimes goes off in our head and really listen to what it's saying. Okay, so really, it's really important in order to help you to do this is really take a few minutes every day to record times when you thought something was negative, because usually what it is just the way that you perceive it, okay? And it may not be as bad as how you are portraying it. Now, a next kind of technique that I use, all right, is you can see on the screen, Control, Alt, Delete. And those are the keys on your laptop or your computer. Okay, so what I want everybody to get into the habit of doing is next time you have a negative thought that comes up, think of the keys on the laptop. Just say to yourself, Control, Alt, Delete. You don't have to say it out loud. You can just say it in your mind. So it's just a reminder to yourself that I need to delete this thought and I need to move on. Another thing that I actually do also is if I am having a day when I'm thinking something and really it's negative and really it's just me thinking about that and it's not really how the situation is, I just say out loud to myself, thank you for your opinion, but we're not going to do that today. We're doing that. So that's another little technique that I do. If I'm by myself, I'll say it out loud. If I'm somewhere where I can't say it out loud because people might think I'm crazy. I'll just say it in my mind. All right, we're not thinking of that today. Let's move on. Okay. And it's really just over time that I can just snap myself out of that negative thought and move over onto thinking more positively. So what we really want to do is really lower that inner critic by focusing on the positive. Okay, so when sometimes you might hear a voice in your head say, oh, this is negative, this is not good, take a pause and replace the negative for something positive. Okay, so let me give you an example. For example, if I was in a job and my mind kept saying how much that I don't really like my manager at work, the way I would change it around, I can say, this is a really tough job. My manager is doing the best that he can. Okay, so you can see the two different examples. Okay, it starts off negative and then we're like, let's spin the wheel and turn it into a positive. So that's what I want everybody to try and get into, using these techniques and really just viewing the world and people differently and situations differently. Now, something that I use as another good tool is writing a future letter to yourself. Now, this is something that really helps you to stay positive. Now, what I tend to do, I do it every year, I've been doing it for about 3 years. I always write a future letter to myself every 31st of December, so New Year's Eve. And then I have it emailed to me 1 year later. I'm going to explain to you how that happens. There is a link to a website that I'm going to share before the end of the session that you can register to create a future letter to yourself. You don't have to set it to a year. You can get it delivered in 6 months, 3 months. It's entirely up to you. I just like to do a year because I can look back on how far I've come and what I have achieved. Now, in that letter, when you're going to write that to yourself, I want everybody to dream big. Don't focus on what is happening now in your life. All right. So really try to picture yourself first where you want to be within that time frame, beg your pardon, you set yourself, and then start writing your future letter to yourself. Okay. So let's just say, for example, in a year's time, I want a big shiny car. Okay. Let's just say, for an example, I might say in a year's time, I want a BMW. So I would write it as if to say, it is now 31st of December or whatever date it is, and I have my car outside, whatever it is. So I don't want you to focus on your current situation or circumstances. I want you to write big, okay? So I want you to really write big. You don't know, when you're sort of writing this, you're putting it out there for something positive to happen. So I've done that a couple of times, and things that I've wrote, I've even actually forgotten about it. And I was like, oh, this has happened, that has happened. Some of the things didn't happen, that's fine, but some of the things did. So it really kind of helps you to keep positive. Okay, so a next thing to actually, tool to use to build your positive mindset is positive self-talk. I cannot stress how important this is. Now, positive self-talk is an inner dialogue that makes you feel good about yourself and everything going on in your life. Now, it's an optimistic voice in your head that encourages you to look at the bright side, pick yourself up when things don't go quite the way that you want it. Now, it's about speaking to yourself and treating yourself with kindness and compassion, just like you would treat someone you love. Now, if you have a family member that you're close to, you love them, you cherish them, you would not say horrible things to them. So in that turn, you shouldn't really be saying negative things to yourself. Yeah. So as a practice, what you can do, you can get up in the morning, you can have your mirror in front of you, and you can start doing what I call mirror work and just saying to yourself, I love you, you're beautiful. Yes, it sounds unbelievable, but when you keep doing this, you're going to be more positive. So if you're a person that puts yourself down and talks really negatively of yourself, this is the way that you should start to build up that positive self-talk so that you can actually start to really sort of love yourself and talk about yourself more kindly. And one thing I would say is Never talk negative about yourself to others. Always talk about yourself in a positive light. Now, there are things that maybe that we may not be good at doing, and that's absolutely fine. You would just be sitting and thinking about, okay, I'm not really so good at this on the computer. I wonder if I can take a class. I wonder if my friend can show me. You always want to think about a solution. We don't want to start thinking about, oh, I don't have enough money. I can't do this because I need that, I need this. You think about, okay, I don't have that money. I wonder what I could do to get that. What kind of job could I do? Could I do some chores for somebody? You know, that's how you just start thinking positively. See the negative as a positive and use that drive to actually start thinking positively, and then you'll start feeling better about yourself. Okay, so find the positive side of life's challenges. Now, everybody, and I believe all of us that are on this call, have been through some sort of life challenge. And some people's life challenges are more difficult than others, and vice versa. But what we should try to do is keep moving forward and try not to focus on how difficult life can be. Now, think of the adventures you're having in life because of some of these challenges. If things were always straight and smooth, your life would be pretty boring, okay? Really uninteresting. So you want to start thinking about the times when you've overcome challenges and become a better person because of them. And then once you're able to recall these past challenges, you'll be able to encourage your friends, your family, by telling them about the challenges you went through and how you got through it. Okay, so that's really something that will help another person to become more positive, because you can say, Mary, when I went through this situation, this is what I had, this is what I did to overcome it. And now you've helped Mary to start looking at things a lot differently. So really, really focus on your past challenges, how you overcame it, and see how you can keep moving forward. Okay, fantastic. All right, so next thing we want to be doing is we want to alter our reactions to life frustrations, okay? So we can often feel like we're surrounded by life's frustrations, and as I was mentioning before, the challenges. Okay, for example, perhaps you lost weight and gained it back, all right? Big deal. Sometimes we get bogged down by frustrating events. And then what tends to happen is we start to get frustrated by small little things. Like perhaps if you're a person that drives, you might start getting a bit annoyed that you're not able to find a parking spot, or you keep hitting all the red lights in traffic. But if you alter your reaction to these frustrations, they won't have a strong hold over you. So for example, if you're a person that were driving in the car and you're in traffic, instead of getting annoyed, you can be like, oh, you know what, I'm going to listen to some music, or I'm going to listen to an audiobook, or, you know, I'm just going to just switch my mind to do something a bit more positively. Okay. And with reference to the example that I gave about somebody who's lost weight and maybe gained it back. Okay, these things do happen. Now, what are we going to do to get back on track? So that's all you have to do. Don't beat yourself up. All right, that's happened. Let's move on and let's see if we can get back on track. Okay, so that's very important, because that's something that I notice a lot of the young people that I coach, they kind of sort of beat themselves up when they don't do what they're supposed to do. When I say beat themselves up, I mean talk to themselves really negatively. Oh, I didn't do this, I'm a failure. No, let's just switch that off and let's get back up and start again. Okay, so really, as I said before, we want to be really remembering our past challenges and frustrations, okay? And when you think about these challenges and frustrations that you've had before, okay, you want to just be looking back and saying, how far have I come? Okay, now, when I say comparing the current frustration to the similar ones in the past, you need to think about the frustration that you're going through at the moment. Is it going to make a difference in the long run? Or are you simply wasting your energy by getting worked up about nothing? All right, so really what I want everybody to start doing is taking action to change whatever frustrating event that you might be going through. All right, if you maybe dislike going to work or even going to school, you might think this way because you might want a different job, or you might just really go to school and think it's really hard work, okay? But you have to make a change to fix the situation. Now, in these two examples, if you're in a job that you don't like, you're not a tree, move. So you're either going to get another job, okay, and try to get another job while you're still in that job, or you're going to stay and accept it. Now, if you're at school and you may not like it, my suggestion would be thinking about, in the long run, me being at school and getting these qualifications is going to help my future, okay? You can't stop going to school. So that's something that you can't actually change. So you have to change your mindset to accept that I'm going to be here for a number of years. And while I'm here, I'm going to make it to be the best times of my life. And as you get older, like myself, you'll be starting to think school days are the best days of my life, honestly, because that's what I'm thinking now. Okay, so this one's pretty obvious. Now, we're still talking about building up a positive mindset, taking the time out to relax, okay? Now, oftentimes we get wrapped up in negativity because we're either stressed, overwhelmed, frustrated, or angry. Now, when we allow ourselves time to relax and recharge our minds, we can find space to tackle problems with a positive attitude, okay? Now, I notice that if I'm tired and I have something that I need to solve, I will just go and take a nap and just either go to bed early, take a nap, or just relax and do nothing, okay? So what I want everybody to start doing, if they're not already doing so, is to set aside time every day for yourself to do something relaxing. Now, I don't know what that might look like for you. For me, it's like reading a book, okay? Maybe watching your favorite TV show, or perhaps talking on the phone with a friend, or even just spending a few minutes just sitting in silence and taking some deep breaths. There is no wrong or right way to take time out to relax. It's whatever actually helps you to relax. So obviously those are a few examples. You might want to even go for a walk. You know, for everybody, it looks differently. Okay, for me, every sort of lunchtime when I'm working, I go out for a walk for half an hour. That's just something I do every day. Okay, and it just gives me that time to have a bit of fresh air, take my time off being on the computer and really just thinking about nothing really, to be honest. Okay, all right, so moving on. Oops. Okay, so this is one that I think everybody sometimes struggled with. Limiting the time you spend on social media, okay? I cannot stress how important this is. Since the introduction of smartphones, you know, people are just walking around with their phones sometimes literally in their hands 24/7 and on social media. Now, I'm not saying social media is a bad place, but what I would suggest when you're on social media is avoiding media that causes negative thinking, okay? So based on research that I've done, it shows that negative thinking is supported by the media with negative comparisons, okay? So what it is that people go onto social media, usually a lot of young people, and they're comparing themselves to influencers or people online. People are just comparing themselves. And I want everybody to understand that comparison is the thief of joy. Okay, I'm going to say it one more time. Comparison is the thief of joy. Okay, we are all unique. We all have different talents. Okay, and I want everybody to understand that everybody are actually on different levels. Okay, just because somebody else is doing something, it doesn't make them better than you, or vice versa. All right, so if you're a person that you notice that when you're on the social media, it makes you feel negative, you're comparing, one approach is you can avoid being on social media for long periods of time. You can set, there's timers on your phone, or if there's a particular person that maybe you're following, maybe just unfollow them until you can start to think more positively, okay? Because when you find yourself frequently comparing yourself to, for example, a certain model or an athlete, okay, you know, this is a time when it actually is going to be really difficult for you to get into a positive mindset, okay? So really just start to kind of avoid maybe shows or games that feature things that don't really feed your mind, that are really sort of negative. All right. So I just want everybody just to bear that in mind when you're spending time on social media. If it is having an effect on you, either reduce your time. You know, there's smartphones, they have limits of time when you can be on social media. You know, that's really something that really is going to help you to start building up that positive mindset. Okay, because social media is something that is used daily. All right, fantastic. Okay, all right. So next thing to continue to help you to build your positive mindset is surrounding yourself with positive people. So, for example, if you're around a friend that is always not talking really good things and it may be sounding quite negative, what tends to happen is the more time you spend around this friend is the negativity has a tendency of rubbing off onto you. It's just like, for example, if you're surrounding yourself with somebody who's positive and you're having a bad day, it's going to be virtually impossible for you to be feeling down as often as you would as if somebody was feeding negativity to you. So, for example, if you're with a friend and they're always talking negatively about your school, you might start to think negatively about school too, okay? And this is because this is all you focus on. Now, if you think about the positive aspects of your school, you'll start to see those more clearly. So really start to try to build a network of people who approach life with positivity. Now, there are going to be times when, you know, we all have ups and downs, but really just try to build yourself a network of people who have a positive outlook on life. And perhaps spend a little less time with those whose conversations may not always be positive. So I want to emphasize, don't start cutting people off. I don't actually believe that. There's something on social media where they say cut people off. As far as I'm concerned, people need people, okay? So if you're spending a lot of time with your positive network, you're going to be spending less time with those whose conversations may not always be positive, but you're not going to cut them off, okay? You'll still see them, but you probably see them a lot less, okay? However, sometimes people can be going through something that's really tough and they may need that support of a friend, okay? And that's absolutely fine, absolutely fine. However, if you have a friend that may just want to gossip and talk about people, that's the time when you should try to create some distance, because that's not something that's, remember I said to you earlier on, who's feeding your mind? That's not something positive to fill your mind with, okay? So in addition to this, be positive about other people. Sometimes feeling negative can affect our interactions, our social interactions with people, all right? Now, and sometimes if you are labeled at that person that is negative, and sometimes these things happen, it can possibly make people not want to spend time with you. And then it kind of adds a cycle of feeling negative. Now, a way to actually break out of this cycle, as I said, is really to, on the way to building a positive mindset, is to practice positive social support. So really what I want you to all start using is expanding positive comments towards others, because this is going to help you build a positive thinking mindset, okay? For example, you know, I've been in occasions where I've been sitting with somebody, maybe talking to them, the phone might ring and they'll see the person's name and they start rolling their eyes and they say, oh, so-and-so's going to be speaking to me and I don't really want to speak about the negative things that are happening with COVID. And sometimes what it would result in, that person would not answer the phone. Now, I think that's a bit, you know, everybody has their own sort of opinions of what's right and what's wrong. However, sometimes we can cause ourselves to be labeled by sort of the way that we put out to us, to people. So my thing is whatever you put out comes back to you. So if you put out being positive, you're going to get positive vibes coming back to you. If you put out being negative, you're going to attract negative vibes to yourself. So really something to think about. Yeah, fantastic. All right, so adding on to having a great positive network around you is join a social group, okay? Now, belonging to a social group, this can help reduce negative thinking. So for example, joining a church, for example, this is something that really helps to keep people positive and really motivated and starts to cultivate a positive mindset. Okay, so joining a church or some other social group can really help you to really build up that positive mindset and really start having a positive outlook on things. So really do try your best to find a social group that really fits in with alignment to what you actually believe in. So next tip to building a positive mindset is having a healthy lifestyle. Now, eating well, nutritious food, keeping your body fueled, avoiding processed foods, keeping hydrated, drinking water and exercising. This is all part of having a healthy lifestyle. And yes, it's fine. You know, we all like to have cakes and sweets and chocolates, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, we should still make sure that we are, as possible, eating healthily and having that lifestyle with it, so that when we're eating, you know, a lot of people don't understand that the food that we eat has an impact on our mind as well. Okay, so if you're feeding yourself with things that are not healthy, junk food, you're feeding yourself with junk, you're going to get junk. That's the reality of it. But if you're feeding yourself nutritious foods, greens, vegetables, you know, good food. I know we've got some good hard food in Jamaica, because I know I've been to Jamaica. You know, you're going to really have that really nice tasting food. So yeah, let's all stick to a healthy lifestyle. Now, something I want to share with you all, when I said to you about sharing examples of your past challenges or things that you've been through to encourage others, I just wanted to share something with you all. Now, for me, I was a person that wasn't really adapting the healthy lifestyle in the way of eating and skipping meals, skipping breakfast, being busy, all these kinds of things. So I decided March of this year, for 13 days, I was going to go on what I call an intensive fast to help me reset my body. Now, before I go into this, I want to emphasize I'm not instructing that nobody does a fast for this period of time. I consulted, I've got a health coach, I consulted my doctor, I did my findings and research. So I am just simply sharing my experience with you, because it all has to do with the mindset. So I just wanted to make that quite clear at the beginning. Now, the fast that I embarked on was very intense, okay? It included 5 days with just drinking water, no food for 5 days. Days 6 to 8 was just juice and water. Day 9 is when I was able to have food again, which was just a salad. Day 10, I was able to have a fruit salad. And days 11 and 12, I had to pick selected food on the menu. And then when day 13 arrived, we could eat what we liked. So let me just take you back a bit. On the second day of the fast, it was my birthday. Now, usually when we have our birthdays, we have cake, we have all the food, all the things that probably be not so healthy because it's our birthday. I was drinking water on that day, all right? Now, this fast was not easy. It's not something I've done before. I have fasted, but not intense as this. And it took a certain mental toughness, discipline, and focus, okay? So it took a positive mindset for enable for me to keep on track to continue this fast, okay? So for me, the way I was able to get through it, I have a strong belief in God, and that got me through. And even a few weeks after embarking on the fast, my body was starting to release toxins, which then would make me feel not well. So even after the fast had finished, I was still not feeling so wonderful. However, since sticking with that fast and starting to eat properly, I'm now experiencing the health benefits, more energy, maintenance of weight, and my body feels a lot stronger. Okay. And as I said, in no way am I suggesting that any of you should embark on this fast. Okay. Because I don't want anybody saying, Jenny, the coach, said I should go on a fast. No, this is something that I wanted to share with you, because it takes a positive mindset to do something like that. Because usually if you're used to eating food, which I am and everybody is, your mind's going to tell you you're hungry. I'm hungry. But I was saying to my mind, we're not hungry. Okay, we're going to stick this out. And I had to keep doing that. I listen to gospel music. I pray, affirmations, you name it. I was just being positive. And I was at home, which made it a lot easier. I wasn't going out, and I was just saying that this is something that I have to do. So that is just an example of telling you that when you put your mind to something, you can do it. And sometimes, you know, sometimes people do suffer from, you know, we may go through periods of anxiety and, you know, lots of other conditions which can affect you mentally. And for me, if this is happening with anybody, then what the best thing will be to do is obviously to seek some treatment. You go to the doctor, that thing, because sometimes what would happen is if you're going through that, it can really be difficult to maintain a positive mindset. Okay, so that's just something that I'd like you all to bear in mind, because sometimes we get people just saying be positive, but it may be difficult for others. Everybody's situation is a lot different. Okay, so I'm going to show you now all a video which is going to really kind of help you to change the way that you view things. Okay, so I'm going to stop and share for a moment and then share again. And I'm going to put this video on, and it's really going to probably start to get you all thinking about a positive mindset and the way that you view things. Okay, so just bear with me. I'm going to share my screen once again. Okay, so I'm hoping that this works. I think it should. Okay, bear with me. Right, okay. All right, so let's share the screen again. Oh, there we go. Fantastic. Share sound. Okay, so I want you all to watch this very carefully, because you've got some words on the screen. They're going to come on the screen and somebody's going to be talking. So you need to listen and watch it carefully, otherwise you'll miss the message. Okay, so I'm going to start the video now.
I am part of a lost generation, and I refuse to believe that I can change the world. I realize this may be a shock, but happiness comes from within is a lie, and money will make me happy. So in 30 years, I will tell my children they are not the most important thing in my life. My employer will know that I have my priorities straight, because work is more important than family. I tell you this, once upon a time, families stayed together. But this will not be true in my era. This is a quick fix society. Experts tell me 30 years from now, I will be celebrating the 10th anniversary of my divorce. I do not concede that I will live in a country of my own making. In the future, environmental destruction will be the norm. No longer can it be said that my peers and I care about this earth. It will be evident that my generation is apathetic and lethargic. It is foolish to presume that there is hope. And all of this will come true unless we choose to reverse it. There is hope. It is foolish to presume that my generation is apathetic and lethargic. It will be evident that my peers and I care about this earth. No longer can it be said that environmental destruction will be the norm. In the future, I will live in a country of my own making. I do not concede that 30 years from now, I will be celebrating the 10th anniversary of my divorce. Experts tell me this is a quick fix society, but this will not be true in my era. Families stayed together once upon a time. I tell you this, family is more important than work. I have my priorities straight because my employer will know that they are not the most important thing in my life. So in 30 years, I will tell my children, money will make me happy is a lie, and true happiness comes from within. I realize this may be a shock, but I can change the world, and I refuse to believe that I am part of a lost generation.
All right. Okay, so that's the end of the presentation. So I hope we've got some questions for me, everybody. Okay, so I'm going to check the chat. Richard has put, can you over relax? Okay, that's a good question, Richard. So really what we need to make sure we're doing when we're relaxing, it kind of just depends. Okay, so for me, I'm somebody that I'm quite busy. I have quite a lot of things to do, but what I tend to do is I have a schedule, and it sounds quite regimented, but I have to have a schedule because in the past, time management was not a thing for me. I would just be turning up late here, there, everywhere. So I have a schedule, and I put time in a schedule when I'm going to take some time to relax. Okay. Now, I know a lot of the young people, you've said to me that they're having their exams. And even one of the young people that I mentor, Rashay, when I meet with her weekly, and I sort of said to her that it's great that she has exams, but she should try to take some time out, just to take some time out for herself. So I know what you're saying about over relaxing, because sometimes we get into this mode where we just want to just keep relaxing and not get back to work. But that takes a certain kind of discipline. So you kind of have to discipline yourself. Yeah. So if you're going to say to yourself, I'm going to give myself 20 minutes, but I've got work to do, give yourself 20 minutes. But just be realistic with yourself. Yeah. I've been working really, really hard. Perhaps take a half day off, take a couple of hours, whatever suits you. Yeah. But we can get to a place where we over relax and then we don't want to do anything. So you want to just make sure that you're balancing that out. You're not working too much, but you're not also not taking time out to have a break. So that's a really good one, Richard. I like that. Can you over relax? I like that. It's a great question. Okay, cool. So what you reap, I like that. Balance, you are what you eat. Fantastic, fantastic. So someone's put, what was your target or your main reason you wanted to go on your water salad diet? Okay, so I'm sure a lot of you can see I'm quite small, so I didn't do it to lose weight. That was one thing. I did it because my health, in terms of I wasn't eating properly. I was always having pains in my joints. And I used to have a thing with my iron levels were always up and down, and I'm really feeling tired and lack of energy. Okay, so I did some research and found out about this. It's actually called the Superman fast, as you saw on the screen. And the purpose was for me to really reset my body. So when I say reset my body, is get it back to what it was before I was having all these health issues. And it may sound intense, but the research that I did is really just reset my body now. So now I have to be careful about the types of things I'm eating, and the things that are going, what I'm consuming. I have treats, but I kind of balance it out. So you know, it's just something that I decided that I needed to do. It was tough, it was intense, but you know, I got through it, and yeah, it definitely, I'm reaping the benefits and I feel a lot better now. So it was worth it to do it. I wouldn't do it again, but at the time it was really hard. Do you believe in baby steps, or go big or go home, always doing your best to reach your goal? Great question. Baby steps, okay? Now, let's just say, for example, you've never been accustomed to setting goals. It's going to be something that's going to come as a shock to you, because achieving your goals takes discipline and takes focus. So a lot of the time, a lot of us, old and young people, we tend to do a thing called procrastination, okay? And procrastination is usually because either you don't know something, or you've kind of set something, you set yourself a target which really you know you're not going to do it. So for example, I gave the example of somebody who hasn't been to the gym in a year, and now all of a sudden they're going to go to the gym 5 days a week. Just be real to yourself, yeah, and just start off baby steps. You may say, I'm going to go to the gym twice a week. Fantastic. If you make it to 3, even better, but you need to take it in baby steps, yeah. And then once you start to be consistent, okay, you're going to be able to achieve your goal. Yeah. So for me, I've been setting goals for years. I kind of go 10x, I'll go all in, but it's because I'm consistently doing it every day. But let's just say, for example, I don't know, let's just say you had a goal that, let's just say, for example, you had a goal that you wanted to, I don't know, I'm just going to give an example. So say, for example, I wanted to buy a car, okay? And I wanted to learn to drive as well, okay? So before I buy the car, I have to learn to drive, okay? So now I have to set goals on, when am I going to do my test? When am I going to pass my test by? And then when am I going to buy this car, okay? But obviously everybody's circumstances is different, okay? But when you're setting goals, always put like a date of when you want to achieve that goal, so it's more realistic. Because if you just say, oh, I don't know, I want to get a new car, when's that going to be? Yeah. You just really should just really be making sure that you are putting a date, and your goal doesn't even have to be realistic. It can be a really big goal. Your goals should frighten you. If you're starting to put goals down that are really easy, that's not really a goal. You want to go for big goals that you're like, oh my goodness, how am I going to do this? But when you push yourself in that way, I want you to start thinking, okay, this is a big goal I want to achieve. How am I going to do it? Yeah, actually scrap that. Don't even think about how you're going to do it. Just say, look, I'm going to do it. Okay. You start writing down your goals, you give yourself a guideline, and you keep working on it. Okay. So that's something that I coach on, talking about goals. I'm very big on goals. And I always say to people, dream big, don't dream small. Okay. If your goals don't frighten you, then they're really not a goal. Yeah. Okay. Come on. I want some more questions. Come on, guys.
Hi, my name is Julianne. My
Julia.
for you, Jenny, would be what would you say, what kind of advice would you give to an individual who would set a goal for a specific time, but they don't end up succeeding in that goal? For example, as you said about the driver's license, you go, you do the test, and you pass. You say to yourself you're going to buy your car at a specific time, but that time comes and you still don't have the funding. What would you say for that person if they put so much faith in the fact that this is going to happen? How should they handle themselves when they hit that crossroad of not being able to succeed when they set their goal and it didn't, happen as planned?
Okay. So you want to just keep on going. You might want to navigate. There might be something that you might need to get some knowledge from somebody, okay? Or there might be something that you don't know. Yeah, I love that. Pivot. That's a good one, Richard. Pivot. Yeah. So really, so for example, for myself, as a lot of you know, that I am a life coach, okay? And I have a coach. I have multiple coaches, okay? So I like to look at every area of my life, okay? Because I don't know it all. I'm a coach, but I don't know it all, okay? So I get my knowledge. So we've got the Dr. You Foundation, okay? And you've got all this mentoring support, yeah? So these are the kind of questions you kind of tap in, and you tap into people that have that knowledge that will be able to steer you on the right direction. Because maybe what you're doing is maybe you might be missing something and you need that missing link. Yeah. So that's why I said about surrounding yourself with a social group or positive people to help you to start to put those goals in places. You might say to yourself, actually, this is becoming difficult. I need to speak to somebody about this. And this is how you would branch out and start to look at how you can go about achieving that goal. Yeah. Does that help?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So Beckford's put, is it okay to think negative about your goal but still doing? Okay, so I would definitely say no. Don't think negative about your goal, okay? Because if you think negative, remember what I said, whatever you put out there comes back. So if you've got a goal you want to achieve and you're thinking negatively, you're going to get negative results, okay? So the way I would kind of get you to start thinking positively is I use something called positive affirmations, okay? Now, affirmations is something you would write down. You probably wouldn't believe it. So for example, let's just say I'm a person that's not confident. I would write an affirmation, and every day I would say, I am confident. I am confident. I'm able to talk to people. And you won't believe it at first, but when you keep on saying it, your brain starts to become rewired and you'll start to think more positively about the situation. Yeah. So I would say to everybody on this call, if you are setting goals, don't think negatively about it, because I'll be honest with you, you're not going to achieve it because you're putting out that negative energy. You need to put positive. You need to be setting your goals and feeling like, you know what, I don't know how this is going to get done, but it's going to get done. And I've got every confidence in my ability that it's going to get done. Because when you start thinking like that, somebody could show up, you could get a phone call about that goal. It's happened to me so many times. I'm like, oh, this is a really big goal, but I put it down anyway. Yeah, some of the goals I may have to move some action to do what I need to do, or I may need to talk to somebody else and tap into their knowledge. Yeah, but always think positively and always seek for help. Fantastic. Find money pools that will help you get money. I love that. Fantastic. I love that. Yeah, so pull your resources together. Yeah. I don't know, in Jamaica, they call that, is that partner? I don't know if it is the same thing, because yeah, they call it partner. So you put your money together. That's fantastic. You're welcome. Yeah. Okay. Any more questions? Come on, guys. What did everybody think about that little clip that we watched? Give me some feedback on that.
Anne has her hand up.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Sorry, Anne, I didn't see that. Anne, go ahead. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Richard. How are you? It was really a good presentation. And
Thank you.
Yes, and Black Consortium. So a couple of things, the youth was saying in regards to, negative thinking, if they, pass their driver's license, they want to try to get a car. So that's where multi-income streams comes in, because now it's all about e-commerce, right?
Yeah.
So when young folks need to get other income sources, what they need to do is look at their skills and ability, look at what they love to do, and see if there's a market or a niche for that. And then they can create income for, it could be passive income, multi-income streams, because nowadays you cannot just have one income stream, right?
That's right.
You have to have many going, especially for the young people. They've got to look at, if they want to create money at home and they have work that they want to do, and if they want to create money, they have to think about, what do I love to do? What will someone pay me to do that I love to do, right? And as long as they have a cell phone, they can create wealth from their home. They have to just find that niche. They have to find that market, right?
Yeah.
Tap into it, right? And that's how they're going to get that money, is what they have to be doing, right?
That's right. I agree, Anne. And I think, again, as I said, that kind of knowledge you need to have the right people around you, because years ago I didn't know anything. Yeah, years ago I didn't know anything about passive income or multiple streams of income. I didn't know anything about that. But it's because of the circles that I've got into, and I started to learn about that. And I was like, wow, I can make money in my sleep. I didn't know anything about that. Yeah. So it's really important about where I make the emphasis about who's feeding your mind, who have you got around you, what kind of conversations are you having? Yeah, because if you're positive, you'll attract the right people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but it's just a bit like how I came across Adopt a Youth Foundation. I literally was in a business group with Richard. I literally put my details about what I did, and then Richard reached out to me, and then here we are. Yeah, so it's really about putting that positivity out to attract the right people and the right opportunities. And once you are positive, things start to happen. You start to get that knowledge. Yeah. So that's a great point, Anne. Thank you. Because a lot of young people probably wondering, oh yeah, this is something that's got me thinking now.
Yeah. And the next thing, sis, what we have to be using and what the young people need to be using is their income. Because Joan has a network. Paul has a network, Susie has a network. So the most important things in these times is the young folks need to understand that they need to be using their networks to see, hey, this is what I'm doing, and send it out to their people, tag it, share it, and let them see, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is my flyer. This is my logo. This is what I'm about. And then that's how other people know what you're doing. And then that's how the word will get out there, and then they'll start making money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So I hope you young people are listening to what Anne's talking about, because in the society that we live in now, having just one job and one income is not, it's really kind of one step to poverty, really. I just want to put it out there. So really find something that you're passionate about, okay? And you can start to create wealth that way. And there's lots of apps, invest in. I mean, gosh, I think we could do a whole presentation on that again about different sources of income. But that is something that maybe we could look at doing, because I think, to educate the youth's minds as to how they can tap into that. Yeah.
Yeah. Consortium has a Zoom coming up in May. It's about e-commerce, cryptocurrency, crypto cards.
Lovely. I'd love to attend that if I could.
Just send your details to me, and I'll definitely send you the Zoom link once Consortium creates that Zoom link. Lovely. But Jamelia, she's going to be making the flyer for that for us, for Consortium. She does all of our flyers. Big up to her, right? So she's going to be creating that flyer in regards to that Zoom. It's all about, and it's going to stretch into June, right? where we're
Right.
talking about how young folks can do the income stream, what is crypto, how they can get into it, how we can generate different links in regards to the crypto, and getting the young folks out there to understanding that they can make money in their house with their cell phone. It's all about that life right now.
Yeah, definitely. No, that sounds amazing. I'd love to be a part of that. Thank you. Thank you.
Definitely.
Guys, I've just put in the chat the link for the future letter to yourself, so that you can tap on that link and you can literally just start to write a letter to yourself, and you can set the date you want the letter to email back to you, and it will email. You'll probably forget about it and you'll get that nice surprise. So like I said, I do mine every sort of New Year's Eve. You can do yours 3 months, 6 months. You can do as many letters as you want. It's free. So that's the link to use. All right. Any more questions, or anybody want to share anything, any experiences, or let's have a good conversation? Anybody? Oh, great, Richard. You put the link of the video. That's good. Great. Yeah, fantastic.
So I'd like to share experiences with myself as I'm going, sis, in my business, because I mean, I'm always a big advocate for young people and making sure that, you know, in these times, it's definitely difficult, especially for our young folks to get that money going.
Yeah.
Definitely have that self-confidence when it comes to participating in activities and events, because what our young people need to understand is that consistency of the connection to the network. Because if you're not constantly connected to your network and participating, to say, hey, there's a Zoom coming up, this is going to teach me how I can get into this income stream, this is how I'm going to have to be doing it, right? And then sharing it with the people around them, right? Because sometimes, you know, it is lots of pressure on young folks. They got to go to school. It's not easy in JA, you know, trying to represent and paying bills. But the most important thing that will be consistent for them is once they tune into a good network, like they are, AYF, they're connected with the consortium, both those networks together. When the young folks tap into that, then we can let them know, okay, these are the income streams. This is what you'll do to start that line pumping, right? Because I know when I started, I have several brands, right? I'm a paralegal, I have consortium, I do mediation, you know, and I do an education piece with the youth people, the young people in Toronto. So the most important thing that they have to do is, it's not easy, because I get up 5 o'clock every morning, 365 days a year, sick, tired, no matter what I am, right? I'm representing, because I know all of that hard work is putting into me, my family, generational wealth for my children. And when I'm working hard, everybody benefits. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it wasn't easy, because absolutely, sis, you know, as you're saying, people get into your mind, oh, you're not going to do it. Like, for instance, I'll give you a good story about Facebook, because I have 3 platforms on Facebook, 5,000 followers, all Afrocentric. And when I started my page on Facebook, my girlfriend said to me, oh yeah, no, you know, don't do that. You're not going to get anywhere with those platforms, because it's all Afrocentric brothers group, Afrocentric sisters group, social sisters group, right? And she's like, no, that's not where. I said to her, well, you know what, girl, everything going to work after a year. It's all good. I'm just going to keep it pushing. And sister, after I think it was less than a year, right? The Afrocentric brothers group that I have to approve everybody, because not everyone's coming in there. You know what I'm saying? We can take money from all colors, but it's specific. It has to be like Black people selling products, promoting products, whatever Black folks are doing, they can do it in that platform, sell, promote, whatever. And so now, I think she's on one of my platforms on Facebook, right? Now, I think she's in one of the Afrocentric sisters groups, right? And so that's what you cannot listen to people whispering in your ears. The only thing I listen to every single day, sis, when I get up, it's like, what do I have to do? What do I have to achieve? What do I have to accomplish? And I focus on that, because every day someone's going to tell you something negative. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's so important to tune the haters out, because haters are everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So the most important thing when you hear haters, you just be like, okay, that's another hater. So you just say, and you want to prove them wrong. Because when they say you can't, then you want to say, well, I'm going to. Because there's so much stereotypes about Black people not being consistent, Black people not doing this. So when you break down those barriers of stereotype, then all they have to do is zip their lips. right? They can't say nothing but hate quietly, because every obstacle you overcome and achieve, they just hate you even more. You know what I'm saying? And that makes you want to smile, because you said I couldn't, but I am, and I'm continually doing it, consistency. So what you have to do is, on your word, you are your word, right?
Yeah.
Your word has to be bond, sis.
Bonds,
So if
yeah,
your
yeah.
word means nothing, if your actions mean nothing, and if you're not consistent every single time, no matter what, no one can question you. When you are consistent, when you say something and you do it and accomplish it, they have nothing to say. And if they have something to say, it's just haters. Because if they can't say, well, you didn't do this. Oh, you said you're going to do that, but you didn't do it. So it's so important that the young people be consistent, be confident, and have a vision board. Vision boards are so important, sis. Right?
Yeah, I think I touched on that on the last one of the sessions I did. Yeah, but I think we could.
I love a vision board.
Definitely really revisit that again. But I think one thing for me that stands out, I was talking with a group of friends, that how it is that a lot of us are not successful, not because we don't have the ability to be successful, it's because we're in jobs that we do not enjoy. So what happens is that you're getting up every morning, Monday comes, before you get up, you're like, oh goodness, it's Monday again. I don't want to go back to that place. So nothing good can come from that. So like with me, I'm doing something that I love. Okay. So literally this is, for me, like it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if this was something that I didn't enjoy, I would not be getting up at this time of the morning to come and do this. Right. So that's just an example. So one thing I wanted to share with all of the young people, everybody on this call today, is that in order to have that positive mindset as well, is think about setting yourself a good morning routine. Okay. Yeah. So for me, this is what I do. Now I have a device called Alexa that everybody knows. Okay. And my Alexa is, the alarm is set, because I get up at like 10 to 5. So usually what happens is I get Alexa from Monday to Friday to wake me up to gospel music. So literally 10 to 5, I don't have an alarm that goes off. The gospel music comes on, and then I get up at 5 o'clock. So now I'm already setting that positive vibe for the day. Yeah, I've got my gospel music on. I'm lying down. I'm like, yeah, I feel good. 10 minutes, I'm up. And then I start to do my affirmations. I write in my journal my intention, set the intention for the day, and really get myself in a positive mindset. So I may do a bit of exercise, because I do like sort of like 2 to 3 times a week, and I do it every other day. And I just kind of set that intention for the day and really have that routine where I'm reading a bit, so really just setting up a morning routine that's going to help you going, because the way you start your morning dictates the way the whole day is going to pan out. So you have a bad morning, I can assure you the rest of your day is going to follow bad as well. So it's a start. So you really want to get that morning intention and get yourself in that positive mindset for if you're going to school, if you're going to work. And that's what I do. And that really helps. And if you have a day that is going to be challenging, you picture yourself winning that day. You might have a meeting that you're nervous about. You're like, right, okay, today I'm going to have that meeting and it's going to go well. I'm going to be successful. You keep on feeding yourself with these affirmations and really get yourself into that positive mindset. So that once you get there, you're able just to push through that. Yeah. So that's something that I want to kind of get through to everybody. Yeah. But I love your contribution, and that's fantastic what you were saying. It all makes sense there. I think for me, you're welcome. I think for me, people are going to say what they want to say, and everybody's got entitled to their opinion. A lot of people will come to me and say, why are you doing this? I'm like, that's great. Thank you so much for your opinion. And then I just carry on. Yeah. Because for me, if I want opinion in terms of like my business, I have accountability partners, people that I check in with and people that I can get the knowledge from, and vice versa. So I would never take advice from somebody who hasn't set up a business, not because I think I'm better than them, but if you haven't set up a business, you haven't got a business, how are you going to help me? Exactly. You're not going to be able to help me. So that's where a lot of us go wrong. We kind of seek external validation, asking others, instead of finding the right people to ask. Okay, because everybody's got an opinion, whether it's good, whether it's bad, but always know your type of people to go to, your advisor. Yeah, there's lots of, as you know, we've got mentors here, a Dr. You Foundation, all of you young people got access to mentors here and everything, you know, so you can ask friends, but if friends have never been through what you need, what you're going through, or what advice that you need, it's probably not going to help you in the end. Yeah. So always think about who's feeding your mind and what type of conversation that you're having. And that's going to really have that impact on you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Beth has put, do you have any apps you recommend to help with your mental health? Yeah, there's an app called Happify on iPhone, and there's another one, I can't remember what it's called. Happify is a good one because it's got a lot of activities on there for your mind. And there's another one, I really can't remember what it is, but I'll remember in a minute. How do you wake yourself up with music? Was it challenging at first? It wasn't actually, because when I'm getting up in the mornings, I'm going to do something that I love. I say what was challenging was changing the time I'm getting up at 5 in the morning, because I never really used to get up at that time of the morning. So it's just really resetting my mind to do that. And it was okay. But yeah, the music was great because it's like, yeah, I've got that gospel music and I'm up, and it's better than having a normal alarm. Most of us will just probably press snooze and then go back to sleep. But having that music really helps me to get motivated in the morning. Yeah. So Happify is one. There are so many apps out there, but Happify is a good one that people tend to use, which is quite good. And you can get it on your Android or your iPhone as well.
Can you spell that out, sis? Is it happy and then F-R-Y?
So Happify.
Oh, H-A-P.
Yeah, Happify.
Oh, H-A-P-P-I-F-Y?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so it's got like science-based activities and games that can help you overcome negative thoughts, stress, life challenges, and it has also techniques as well. So that's a really good app that I've actually used in the past, actually. So yeah.
Good for people.
Cool. So Hannah's put, I set an alarm and then play my music after when I'm getting ready. Yeah, that's a really good technique as well. Play your music after when you're getting ready. Yeah. Also, everybody should have really try and get themselves like a playlist that has like happy music on it. Yeah, that really makes you happy, because that's something that I do. I have a list of happy music just to get me going in the day. Even sometimes in the afternoons, if I don't have meetings, I'll have that happy music on in the background, because it all makes you more positive. Yeah.
Yeah, I do that a lot. I listen to Revolt. I love all their music there. Every morning at 5 o'clock, music's playing in my house.
Love it. Get that good vibe going.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Fantastic. Anybody else got any more questions or anything that anybody wants to share? Anybody else? Anybody? So everybody liked that clip, yeah? I think that clip that I showed, as I said, I know that clip that I showed kind of makes you think. So the first, obviously, clip was quite negative, and then they've reversed it to show a positive outlook. So I just wanted to leave that all in your minds to know that, you know, keep feeding yourself with positive things, and it will help. You know, and in terms of doing things like having this mental health, this app as well helps with the mental health. And if you do have mental health, don't be too tough on yourself. Yeah, there is help that you can get out there. There's all types of help that you can get out there. So don't be tough on yourself, and just acknowledging when you're having a day. Don't put yourself under any pressure. Okay, and I'll get you my link tree so you can. Yeah, does anybody else want to share anything? Any thoughts, anything they're going to, I know, I want to hear what people are going to start doing in terms of building up on their positive mindset? Put something in the chat or unmute yourself. At least let me know that somebody's going to be implementing or thought of something they're going to do. I'd love to hear from anybody. Anybody? Nobody's going to put anything into place? Come on, guys. Right, I'm going to put my information in for Anne. All right, Anne, you are what you eat, so eat healthy. I agree, Beth. Absolutely, love that. Julianne's going to do the positive affirmations. Fantastic, great, fantastic. And what you can do, Julianne, you can even record yourself on your smartphone. There's an app called the Voice Note. I have my affirmations. I have it on a loop as well, so you can record yourself. But I tend to write down my affirmations as well, and I read them every day. And I've even got some pinned up. So it just depends on how you want to do it. Most affirmations start with I am. So I am confident, I am powerful, because I am is a positive statement. Anything goes after that, you're in for a win. However, you can just put things like I can get that job, I can whatever, but I am is much more powerful. But yeah, anything a positive statement that you can kind of feed into your mind every day to really get your mind to actually start believing that. Okay, Alicia, go ahead. I see that you raised your hand.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Hi, Jenny. You have done a real wonderful job, must I say. The most powerful thing that resonates with me from your presentation is, who is feeding your mind? I like that question. It provokes much thought, and it is something that I believe we should have as a daily part of our diet, so to speak, just as we eat.
That's right.
It is something that, yes, we think about, okay, what are we gonna have for breakfast? What will we have for lunch and dinner? And I think we should have those similar thoughts when it comes onto our mind. What am I going to feed my mind for breakfast? Feed my mind for lunch? Feed my mind for dinner? What I really want to ask you though is, there are some persons, in a part of your presentation, you spoke about goals and setting goals, and that your goals should challenge you. Now, there are persons who are comfortable with where they are, what they're achieving, what they are doing, and so that might not be something that they are used to doing, setting that challenging goal. How do you approach such an individual in terms of changing that mindset to, setting greater goals that will create, bigger challenges, and therefore give you a greater, I guess, benefit in success or something like that?
Okay, so with goals, before you even start thinking about setting it, you have to think about what is it that you want. Okay, so a lot of us are, most of us are creatures of comfort, so we're happy just to stay mediocre and maybe just stay where we are because it's comfortable. But there's always room for growth. So for me, because I coach, I kind of open up the person. Honestly, by the time they have a session with me, they'll know what kind of goals that they need to go for, because I'll push them. Because for me, there's always room to grow, always room to expand. Yeah, we should never limit ourselves. And again, like I said, as you made a good point, Alyssa, you highlighted again, it's about who's feeding your mind. Yeah, so I would just want to speak to that individual to find out exactly what's going on, because usually when we have this perception of, oh, I'm comfortable with what I'm doing, it's usually kind of sometimes, not all the time, sometimes it's a bit of a cover up, yeah, or they've not been challenged. and maybe the people that are around them is not challenging them. Because if you're in a group, everybody's excelling, trust me, you're going to want to level up. If you're in a group where everybody's stagnant, you're just probably going to stay stagnant as well.
Yep.
So always, there's a saying, show me your friends and I'll show you who you are.
Yep.
Yeah, it sounds harsh, but for me, it's just really trying to find out exactly what's going on as to why they feel so comfortable. And usually when I do coach and I get that out of them, I usually find out it's something that's probably stemmed years ago, where somebody's probably said, oh, you're never going to amount to be something, you should just do this, you should do that. You usually find it might be a root of something that somebody's trying to plant into their mind. Not always, but sometimes. So it kind of just depends on the individual and really trying to get those open questions to find out exactly what's going on.
Can I chip in let me just chip in a follow through with that question. All right, so you have addressed it from the point of you being a coach, you being, what strategy you would use to, further try to see why is it that you are at this point. And so let us take it from an angle where the individual has recognized it for him or herself. How can they, within themselves, or by themselves, say they are not exposed to a coach or someone who can help them? How can they help themselves?
Okay, so let's just say, for example, the person doesn't have a coach or mentor. YouTube is out there. There's books. There's all these resources and these tools that are available that are free. Yeah. There's free PDFs, there's free, a lot of the books that are on Amazon, believe it or not, some of them majority of them are free on YouTube. So it's just that individual tapping into that. And, there's a saying that you can't lead the horse to the water. So if somebody has these resources and they're not using them, there's just going to be nowhere that they're going to move forward. Yeah. So I always say to people, a lot of people said to me, oh, what if you don't have the resources to have a coach or a mentor? I said, well, until then, you can watch videos on YouTube of motivational speakers. There are audios you can listen to, people like TD Jakes, Bob Proctor. There's so many free things on YouTube. It's just like when you're watching TV and you're filling up your mind with the stuff that's on TV. You could take, maybe 30 minutes or an hour out of your day to even start watching some of these clips and watching them over and over and over again until you kind of get to that point where actually this is something that is really making me feel positive. Yeah, because that's how I kind of started off that way before I got a coach, but wanted more. So then went to invest in a coach, then another coach, and another coach. And it's been like that for some time. So yeah, it's just really tapping into those resources, and the person has to be ready, because you can't force people. I mean, when I coach people, they have to be ready. I can't force them because it's not magic. So that's just that side. So I don't know, does that help? Does that response help?
Wonderful. Great advice. Thanks, Jenny.
You're welcome. Thank you. I love these questions. I could be here all night, Richard, so you better just say to me, when is it time to go? Because I'll be here all night.
We have 4 minutes.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks for that. Okay. I love the questions, guys, by the way. Anne does yoga in the morning and she takes time out to think. That's great. Fantastic. Beth, feed your mind with positive things. Great, Beth. Good reminder there. Anne says, I take 2 days for me and look at who you're talking to every day, and they do help you level up. I love that. No change and 100%. I love that. And sometimes as well, you find that, I'll just finish off here. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. So my truth may be my truth, your truth may be your truth, but the way I look at it is I'm always open to hear somebody's opinion. And not because I'm a life coach that I tell people, no, that's the right and the wrong way. I always listen to people's opinion and give my opinion. But the way I coach is when I coach people, I always, if you're letting me coach you, you've given me that permission to coach you and take you out of your story that might lead you into thinking negatively. But let's just say we're in a room and we're just talking and people are discussing things and whatever. Everybody's got a right to their own opinion, and you may have a thing where you think what you're saying is right and they don't agree with you. So there's just a way to kind of avoid confrontation, and sometimes you have to agree and disagree and say, well, Anne, thanks for your opinion, but I really don't agree with that. This is the way that I see it, but thank you. And that kind of just, again, that's quite positive. It's not telling Anne that Anne doesn't know what she's talking about. It's saying to Anne, yeah, I respect your opinion, that, thank you, Anne. However, I see it this way, but thank you anyway. Yeah. So that's just something I wanted to put across as well, because years ago, I always used to think I was right. So every time somebody says something, I would want to prove them wrong, and then it would lead to a lot of confrontation. But I've matured now, so I've learned that that's not always the right way to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Any more questions before we go? Yeah, any more questions?
Okay, I have another question before we go. It's a little more far out, but
That's all right.
in places of goals, could you possibly apply like adding new hobbies? Because that in itself is a challenge. So like say you already have goals for like a specific career path, but you don't have any other skill, so you don't really have many more goals to put to anything else. So instead of having a goal per se, you would have a hobby that you would take on, as if like you do roller skating or you do ice skating, and as it goes on, if you the more you enjoy it, then is when you can develop goals about probably wanting to be in a tournament or something like that.
Yeah, hobbies are seen as goals as well. Like you said, that you say, for example, you decided that, yeah, okay, I'm going to take up roller skating. Yeah. Okay. So that's something that you do, you enjoy it. And then you might decide, actually, I'm so good at it. This is something that I really want to take up professionally, or want to enter into competition. Yeah. So you do your best to do your research to find out where the competitions are. Yeah. And you might set yourself a target where you say, well, the next, I don't know, 6 months from now, I would like to be in a tournament. Yeah. So then you have to go back on yourself and look at the steps you're going to take, because a hobby, I know you're saying that you might have had your goals and you've set them, but you've got a hobby, and then you might want to turn that into something that is going to be, you're going to take it on as a profession, or you're going to do this professionally. Okay. So you could set yourself a goal and say, from 6 months from now, I'm going to be a professional roller skater. Yeah. It's still a goal, even though it's a hobby. Yeah. You might decide that, for example, I might say that I want to be a professional dancer. I'm good at it. So I might want to say 6 months from now, I'm going to be dancing for this country, or for this, I want to go to this place where they're having an event, and I want to be a professional dancer. But you set yourself the steps, and you think about how is it you're going to get there. You might be putting that goal down, and you might get a phone call and somebody might say, great, there's this competition coming up. But you have to put yourself out there. So when you want a goal as well, really, there's an old saying that you shouldn't tell people that, oh, if you tell your goals, it's going to spoil. Me personally, I don't believe that, because for me, no person, place, or thing is going to stop me from doing what I want to do. So at the end of the day, you just like when I reached out in the business group and I put out what I do, Richard approached me. Now, had I not done that, who knows if I would even be here with you this evening, if I just kept myself quiet. So it's just really giving you that example, that really put it out there what you want to do, talk to people, and then you can find out that would turn into that achieved goal. Yeah, always push and strive and try and get yourself around the right people. I love that. Volunteer. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right. And says volunteer. Yeah, volunteer will give you ideas and new experiences. Great.
Jenny, I'd like to say something on that note, right?
Yeah.
How Jenny and I became friends and colleagues in Adapt to You Foundation is because I am always looking for ways I can help people. So that is my life goal, to help people in Jesus' name every single time. So when I saw an opportunity in a meeting, I didn't know Jenny before, I've never met her, but she said that she does this life coaching and help young people. I'm in Jamaica and I'm saying, can we talk? And instantly I set on a path to engage Jenny. And that was in 2020. And now
November,
she is
I believe.
one of the directors in the Dr. Youth Foundation. Right? It seemed quite impossible for you to just engage somebody from a different country. I didn't know and say, come and help us here. But tonight, Jenny is in charge of the session for the Dr. Youth Foundation. She's also a director with a lot of great things to come. So this relationship is because we set out to be positive. I could be shy and say, no, this lady from England, she's not going to look on me. She doesn't know me. She's not going to respond. But being positive and have that positive mindset, I believe and I reach out. And I mean, what she could say is, no, sir, I don't know about you. But she didn't. And here we are today.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, no, I think for me, I'm really was grateful that Richard had reached out, because I just put it out there, and then, you know, he approached and said, you know, can you come and do one of our sessions? And for me, when I heard he's from Jamaica, that was very close to my heart, because my parents are from Jamaica. I went to school in Jamaica for a little bit. My whole family are from Jamaica. Yeah, so for me, it's very passionate. And I always talk about the many good things that the foundation is doing, and you know how we're working alongside each other. So every time I say to somebody, yeah, I work, you know, support the youth in Jamaica, and they're like, Jamaica, how did that happen? I said, well, this is what happens when you network and you're positive. As what Richard said, you put out the positivity, it comes back to you. Yeah, it's just as simple as that. What you put out comes back to you. So always remember that, whether it's good, whether it's bad, it is going to come back to you. It may not come back to you at that point, but it will come back to you. So always try to strive and do the best, and think about your actions when you're going to do something. Just think about it. Think about if it's something that's not so good, think about it. It's going to have an effect on you in the long run. Yeah. So yeah, fantastic. Yes, Beth, take every opportunity. It's better you do it than live in regret that you didn't. Absolutely fantastic. Good point there. I agree. Fantastic. Fantastic. This is great. I like this interaction, because I don't just like talking at people, but some good questions tonight. I love it. I love the interaction. I love the energy. As I said to Richard, I could talk all night, but I better not. Because this is getting quite late for me now. But yeah, I mean, as I said, you know, for the future, just one thing I'm going to leave you young people with: think about your decisions that you make, okay, because it can affect your future. Yeah, and do not let your past define your future. Okay. All right, so you may be in certain circumstances and other situations where you think it's absolutely impossible, but what you lead the mind to achieve, you can conceive. Yeah, so always think about, just even in that future letter that you're going to write yourself. I want everybody to do that. I want you to just picture yourself where you want to be from 6 months on, a year on, or whatever. Put your biggest goals. Don't just put, oh, I just want to do this, that. Put something that's really going to blow your mind. Yeah, really always push yourself to do the best and be around the best people, because especially when you're young, if you can get that mindset from when you're really young, it's going to be a lot easier for you for when you get older. Yeah, for me, when I was a lot of you young people's ages, I didn't have that mindset, and I just didn't have the people around me, and that's just how it was. And as I got older, I was able to know about mindset and know about positive things. Yeah, I love it. And said, go big or go home. But you're really getting a head start where I'm saying start from where you are, yeah, and start to get your mindset going in terms of reading and really going onto YouTube and listening to motivational speakers as well. Do lots of positive things to feed your mind, yeah. But always do the best you can so that when you'll thank your future self, yeah, because nobody wants to be in a job that they don't enjoy, because if you're doing something you don't enjoy, you will not be successful. Okay, so always strive. And sometimes you may be doing a job that you may not want to do, and you may have to do it just to maybe pay the bills for a certain time. That's fine. But what you would want to do then is set yourself a time that you're going to be like, right, I need to be moving on from here. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with taking a job that maybe not be ideal, but however, I wouldn't say but, however, we should always set ourselves a high goal and say, okay, a year from now, I'm going to be doing this or I'm going to be doing that. Yeah. All right. So that's my final words on that. I love Anne's put go big or go home. I like that. Great. Does anybody else have anything to add? Richard, anything? Anybody else? Thank you, Anne. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, Jenny, I am really amazed that you are so full of life at 2:30 in the morning. It
Yeah,
goes to
because I
show the sort
enjoy.
of passion that you have. And as you said about surrounding yourself with positive people, when you are in the presence of someone so passionate, it is contagious, right? And this is a good contagious situation you want to be in.
Not COVID, yeah.
You want to catch that positivity and
Yeah.
run with it. This evening has been really amazing, and the only regret I have is that we didn't have more persons on, but it is being recorded, and as soon as we have concluded the session, then I will download the recording and I share it with you, and other persons who missed it can get an opportunity to see it as well. So thanks, Jenny, one, for responding positively to me last year.
You're welcome,
and for
Richard.
being positive subsequently. So some persons might not know this, but the MOU that the Dr. Youth Foundation signed with the St. George's College mentorship program, right now, the rollout is happening, and our director of mentorship, Jenny, is the one who will be taking us into a different sphere that we've never had before, because the school has been looking at developing further, and we are looking as an association, as a foundation, to engage other schools in Jamaica and possibly other schools elsewhere in the world. As Jenny said, set goals that does blow your mind. So we will be setting up mentorship for schools on different continents. So we're talking about North America, we're talking about South America, we're talking about Africa, we're talking about Australia, we're talking about Asia. We are going all over the world. So in the next 5 years, we'll be touching multiple continents. Okay? And
that is
what Jenny has said tonight will be realized. So when she writes her letter to herself, her 5-year down the road self, or her 2016 self, she's going to say, Jenny, well done for setting up these mentorship sessions with schools on 3 continents.
Now, this is
look back and say, wow, we have done 5. Wow, I was thinking 3 was amazing, but we have done 5, right? So we're working together to see this happen. Thank you very much, Jenny. Tonight
before
has been
you go,
awesome
no,
night.
I have to respond to that, Richard. Before you go, I'm looking up because let me tell you what my vision statement says: to be the leading online global life coaching business that aims to inspire youth from all around the world. That's what's on my wall. So you just saying that,
yeah,
I've actually got an A3. I'll post it in the chat for you, the mentees. I've actually got an A3 of my mission statement and my vision statement. Okay,
Awesome.
I've had that up there since yeah, I think just a month after I did the session here. December,
Okay.
I put that up, and I see it every day. So this is what I wanted to say before I go, young people, start putting things up of what you want to see happen, and you can see every single day. Because imagine Richard has just said that. He doesn't know what's on my wall.
Exactly.
And I'm right. So you see,
Full circle.
Yeah, speak it into existence. Speak it into existence.
Exactly.
Nothing is impossible for anybody as long as you believe.
Amen.
Mark 9:23, anything is possible if a person believes. So really set your goal, focus, and go for it. Yeah.
Right.
Really.
Sow is what you reap.
Yeah.
Keep sowing, you're gonna reap.
Fantastic. Wow. Richard, now I'm not going to be able to sleep now because of this excitement now. And it's 20-3. Oh my goodness.
You're welcome.
I'm going to have to go and have a cup of Horlicks or something to get me to...
Peppermint tea to cool you down.
Yeah, something to cool me down. You know what? These sessions always give me life, even if I'm not delivering, to be honest. Like these sessions, I always fret. I go, you know what? If I stay up and watch, these sessions, get in these personal sessions, I'm not going to be able to go to sleep. So sometimes my daughter said, "Are you not sleeping?" I said, "I can't. I just come off the line from Jamaica, and their sessions are just, it's fire. It's always fire." So
Yes.
thank you all for your engagement, and it's a pleasure that I'm able to serve all of you young people and support you guys into pushing into your goals. But this year it's going to be bigger and greater for all of us. So keep pushing and keep remembering that you matter and your goals matter. Yeah, think positive and have that growth mindset, not that fixed mindset.
All right. Blessings. Good morning, Jenny, and good night, everyone.
Good night to you guys and good morning all. Thank you. Take care.
Good night, everybody. Bye. Good job, Jenny. Bye. Good night, everyone.
Anne. Take care.
Bye. Take care. Bye.
Bye.